Nobody's helping me, so I've resorted to TikTok. 2 years ago, my dad went to jail for domestic violence against me, my mom, and my sister. Judge Matt Brown in Rapid City, South Dakota, is now trying to put me back with him. And Pat Myers, my dad's lawyer, is now requesting to send me to reunification camp to be counseled by Linda Gottlieb. I've only ever read her name, so I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. In this video here, she is talking about the way kids talk is counterintuitive, meaning that when children say that they were abused and that they are uncomfortable with their parent, they are lying. She also says that it is easy to get kids there and that they come voluntarily. The hard part is getting the court to allow it. But if you look up kids getting sent to reunification camp, they are clearly not willingly going. Who would want to be counseled by someone who won't even listen to you? I know I wouldn't. So I'm asking for help. I'm asking that you share this video and repost it if you can. I will put things to look up in the caption down below if you are more curious about Linda Gottlieb or reunification camp or anything like that. And if you have any questions, please ask. I would love to tell.
Alright, so I wanted to let her speak her whole piece before jumping in and talking about some of this stuff. So, I'm sure most of you caught the hundreds of red flags in what she was describing, right? So let's take a look. Parental Alienation Study Group. Here we go. Turning points for family therapy. Oh, I'm pretty sure I got 3 viruses just opening this site. Why are traditional therapists worse?
Therapy is worse than worthless for the treatment of parental alienation. The goal and objectives of this video is to raise consciousness, to help prevent common treatment errors by most clinical psychologists, and to learn what not to do, and to provide 25 counterintuitive pitfalls where traditional therapies hurt victims of parental alienation. Timothy Baker wrote in,
Yes, feline, yes, the abusive parent. It's not helpful to the that's literally what it just said. To provide 25 counteractive pitfalls where traditional therapists hurt victims of parental alienation. The people who are the hurt victims that they're referring to is the parental alienation is the alienated parent, which is the abuser in this case that she is talking about.
Timothy Baker wrote in Psychological Science in the Public Interest that clinical psychology should move toward a scientifically principled approach to mental and behavioral health care. He remarked, clinical psychologists' failure to achieve a more significant impact on clinical and public health may be traced to their deep ambivalence about the role of science and their lack of scientific training.
What the fuck does that mean? Clinical psychologists lack scientific training. What is scientific training? Is scientific training like information about the scientific method? Is scientific training about the statistics of behavioral science? What scientific training are they lacking? What is this? What the fuck is this? Huh? Anani? Excuse me. This is not how this isn't how behavioral science functions. People who do clinical psychology and therapists, which are different things, by the way, which this video just seems to be like crossing the hairs of and just throwing one in for the other, probably due to their lack of scientific training. These people and social workers are operating on the front lines of behavioral science because behavioral science doesn't no one method works for every person equally, right? It's just not the way these types of sciences are applied, because you have to have a plethora of options, because there's a plethora of different types of people who will respond differently to different stimuli. And there's also a lack of taking social sciences seriously, so it doesn't... There could definitely be more funding, more research, more appropriate methods, right? And yes, Feline said, as I said, you can't give therapy purely on statistics. In fact, not only can you not, if you tried, it would result in utter failure, complete and utter failure, because as soon as you start treating people like statistics, it goes bad for people. My goodness, this is terrible. Everything about this is terrible. Let's keep going.
And their lack of scientific training. Sharon Begley reported
Hear
on
the
Tim
tone?
Baker's study and wrote an article for Newsweek entitled, "Ignoring the Evidence, Why Do Psychologists Reject Science?" Quote,
Definitely not a biased source. Who's Sharon Begley? American journalist. Yeah, she died recently. An American journalist who is a senior science writer for STAT, a publication from the Boston Globe that covers stories related to scientists. She regularly contributed articles to the Yale Scientific Magazine while at university. She published recurring columns and feature articles in several mainstream publications on a wide variety of topics. Begley was also an author and spoke at professional and community organizations. Her topics included neuroplasty of the brain, issues affecting science journalism, and education. She appeared on radio and television to discuss topics covered in her articles and books. Begley attracted both praise and criticism as a writer. Why Doctors Hate Science, published in Newsweek 2009, prompted a critical response. David Gorski, writing under his pen name Orak, took issue with Begley's characterization of medical practitioners as ignoring basic medical science. One example used by Begley was that of women continuing to receive Pap tests after having total hysterectomies. Ongoing Pap smears are still indicated for women who have had partial hysterectomies or who have suffered I can't read. Uterine cancer. Begley may indeed have a point that too many Pap smears are still done after hysterectomy. By simplifying and mocking, she completely undermined her point, not to mention showed that she doesn't understand the issue involved. Either that or she does not understand them, but decided to score cheap points against physicians instead of adding 3 words after hysterectomy for benign disease. At the very least, Begley should have acknowledged that her blanket statement is more than a bit over the top, end quote. This and similar criticisms from other defenders of the medical community prompted Begley to write a follow-up article about why psychologists reject science, in which she referred to the previous article as one in which she was, quote, asking facetiously why doctors hated science, but then went on to explain that, quote, the problem is even worse in psychology. This prompted a fresh wave of criticism, such as that expressed by Leslie Becker Phelps in Psychology Today, where she referred to Begley's articles as alarmingly misleading. Becker Phelps stressed that intense educational requirement of the field and stated that, quote, the APA mandates that its member psychologists use their scientific knowledge in their clinical judgments. So, this girl, where'd you go? Get out of here, Stephen Crowder. This girl is having her case looked at by people that are trying to force ideology based on this woman's work, based on this shit, based on this shit. So, let me look up just what exactly reunification therapy is. Reunification camp, children in Santa Cruz, CA, violently ripped from home. This is 2022 was the date on this. These events are a direct response to the experience of siblings Maya and Sebastian Lang of, I don't know if I'm pronouncing their last name right, of Santa Cruz County, Let me just make this a little easier. Fuck! There we go. Yeah, can you guys read that? Yeah, you should be able to see that. Get out of here. Siblings of Santa Cruz County, California, who were forcibly removed from their home last week and transported to a unification camp led by Lynn Steinberg. I'm going to copy that name down. Reunification camps are highly controversial and unproven treatment method in which children are removed from their preferred parent or safe parent despite their allegations of abuse or mistreatment directed towards the other parent. In these camp environments, which are eerily similar to the equally controversial wilderness camps or conversion therapy camps, children are prevented from contacting their preferred parent, and they are often told their memories of abuse are not real, or that their parent they deem as safe coached them or alienated them. Despite its history and equally disturbing present-day movement, claims of alienation are seen as a legal strategy used to deflect from abusive behavior. Like that, this goes beyond gaslighting. This is indoctrination because they're abusing the children and isolating them and telling them this thing over and over again, and they're not allowed to contact anybody on the outside. This is indoctrination. This is beyond gaslighting. The alienation movement spans decades, and the present-day movement remains as concerning as its history. During these unification programs range from 3 days to 90 days. After the reunification camp ends, children are sent to reside with the parent whom they alleged abused them, or they are placed in group homes or institutional settings. Huzzah! So let's look up this fucking name. Lynn Steinberg. Let's see if we can get... Specialized in working with alienated parents and alienated children. She provides a 4-day therapeutic intervention program which has 100% success rate. I mean, you know when something says it has 100% success rate that it's legit and this person isn't just a fucking monster. Let me see if I can find an article that's like... Yeah, there she is. Steinberg, reunification therapy. Yeah. Parental Alienation PAS.com. Oh, why do all these people give me the fucking... What is a reunification camp? There we go. This is from like one of their sites, so that way we can get like a what do they think they are? A reunification camp is a program designed to help families who have been separated due to high conflict, parental alienation, or other issues to reunite and rebuild their relationships. These camps are typically run by mental health professionals and are aimed at providing a structured and supportive environment for families to work on their relationships and develop new communication and coping skills. During a reunification camp, families may participate in group therapy sessions, individual therapy sessions, and other activities aimed at building trust, improving communication, and fostering positive relationship between family members. The specific program and length of stay may vary depending on the needs of the family and the goals of the program. Reunification camps are not suitable for all families, and they may not be effective in all cases. What about our 100%? 100% Steinberg! It is important for families to work with mental health professionals to determine whether a reunification camp is the right choice. Oh, so this bullshit we were looking at that therapists ignore. Okay. For their situation and to ensure that they receive appropriate support and guidance throughout the process. Thanks, Linda. Originally, I was just gonna look at like what reunification camps were, and I was like, just to help boost this poor girl because this is what she's going through right now. But I seem to have fallen down a rabbit hole